Welcome back to 504 Road Trips. Today we're going to drive down Lapalco Boulevard in Gretna, or unincorporated Gretna. And we've done this before. We've covered Lapalco Boulevard before, but we're going to cover it a little more in depth. I was speaking with a friend of mine on the phone the other day, or actually on Facebook, and he moved away 30 years ago, and he was trying to describe a place to me that he remembered, and I had no idea what he was talking about. You know, I grew up here and lived here for a good part of my life, and I guess I've watched things change over the years, and so I forget about older things. And he hasn't been here in 30 years, so he's just forgotten because he hasn't been here. So let's take a look at what we've got along Lapalco Boulevard. We're going to start with this little shopping center here, and excuse the cracked windshield. This Vinny's Sports Bar has been there since the 80s. Other than that, everything in here is new. That check cashing place has been there for a long time. As we look down here, there's a lash place, a barber shop, Barber and Beauty. You know, those places tend to flip every so often. There was a place called Mark's Exotic Aquatics, which was one of those fish places where you could buy aquariums and equipment for that and buy the exotic fish, but that's long gone, I guess. Down at this end, which is actually closer to Belle Chase Highway than Lapalco, is a restaurant called Los Compadres, and that was Cuco's. And Cuco's was, I'm pretty sure, a local Mexican or Tex-Mex restaurant, and it closed about 8 or 9 years ago. And the owner had promised to bring it back on Facebook and everything, and I guess the funding just wasn't there or whatever, and it never happened. So Cuco's is gone, and we have Los Compadres now. I've never been to Los Compadres, so I don't know how it is. But it's been there for 5 or 6 years now, so I'm guessing it's got to be pretty good if it's lasted that long. Of course, behind us we have Taco Bell, if you want that kind of Mexican. So let's move on. Oh. This AutoZone's been here since the late 80s. The earliest I can remember ever going there was about 1990. And it wasn't brand new. We have a car wash here on the right-hand side. It's been there probably 20 years. Then we're going to pull into this little shopping center here. I don't remember what was in that little building where Pawn Depot is, but this Furniture and Upholstery Magic was Joe Gambino's bakery. It was one of the better places to get king cakes around Mardi Gras time. And that all kind of attaches to a larger shopping center, but it's not a continuous parking lot, which is why I'm having to go back out onto the street. So I'm going to pull into the main part of that parking lot and take a look at what else we have here. So in this shopping center we have Leslie's Pool Supplies down there at the far end. That's been there forever. And then we have just various other things. I can't even see what that says down there at the end. The lettering's too small on the sign. Dreams, check cashing, Beauty Master, as I guess a beauty supply store. Pack Mail is a pack and ship type place. Subway has been there forever. One of many, many Subways we have around here. Ship to Shore Travel, Caro's Market 2, Bravo Nails and Spa, Relax Spa, Ideal Appliance used to be further down the street, I think in the 300 block of Lapalco, and it moved down here at some point. That was originally a place called Soundtrek, and that was part of the giant TC company. Tony Campo had Campo Appliances, Soundtrek, which was like home electronics, and Mobile One was car electronics. And I actually bought my first computer from Soundtrek there in 1991. There was also a place called Major Video. It was a video rental store somewhere up in this shopping center. I don't remember exactly where. Now, directly across the street here, you can see that convenience store. That was a Time Saver, and Time Saver was one of the ubiquitous convenience stores that we had around the New Orleans area. There was one on every corner almost, and I remember going there, and they had arcade games in there, a couple of them, and one of them was called Outrun. It was a driving game, and it was pretty high tech for its time. I'm talking late 80s. Here at the corner of Wall Boulevard, we have gas stations. On the right is an Exxon, and that was a Chevron for years, but then it closed, and it was closed for about 20 years. And then across from that is a Shell. Shell had one of the best car washes back in the 80s and 90s, and that was before all the standalone car washes came about. And then on the left, where the old National Canal Villery store was, is a racetrack gas station. We'll see that on the way back. There was actually an Exxon station on the other side as well, and it closed back in the, I guess, mid to late 80s. So now we're going to take a right into this little strip here, and it too appears to be split up into multiple parking lots. Not a whole lot here, but I'm pretty sure it was this one that at one time had Warehouse Records and Tapes, which was, you know, they sold records and tapes and later on CDs, but it was really just a head shop in disguise. You could buy all sorts of paraphernalia there. But when I used to ride my bike up here to buy tapes at the time, I was like 13 and I didn't know what any of that stuff was. This is just a little strip with all sorts of hair salons, nail salons, tax places. And that next one is a Boost Mobile. So on the right here, there used to be a big apartment complex on the corner of Belmead Boulevard and Lapalco, and it was heavily damaged in Hurricane Katrina, and they just knocked it down. And part of it right here in the very edge, on the corner, is one of Jefferson Parish's recreation's walking trails. Now we're passing through Timberlane Golf Course. And this has actually been annexed onto the city of Gretna, so there's about, I don't know, a tenth of a mile of Lapalco Boulevard runs through Gretna. And when they had their speed camera program going, they always had a speed camera over here. And I guess maybe every once in a while they'll sit out here and pull people over for speeding. And just like that, we're out of Gretna now. Everything up in this area has changed quite a bit over the last 10 years or so. I don't remember there being much of anything here. But if you're from the Westbank, please fill in the blanks in the comments and put the timestamp in the video so we know where you're talking about. Here in the middle of the driveway. Wow. So this little strip center here, a Vietnamese cuisine restaurant over there, Cleaners 504 nightclub, which seems to take up most of that building. Bamboo cafe in the corner and a tattoo parlor. "30-something, I believe, well, 30-something, I believe that's a nightclub as well. And then nail salon, Magnolia Physical Therapy, BS Brand Tees store, Savage Hair, King Augustus Grind Life Gym, Dive and Rescue. That place has been there for a long time. It says printing of signs. That's Impressive Printing. He's been there forever. And Boutique by Jasmine, Her by Jasmine. Now here in the corner of Manhattan and Lapalco, we got a Walgreens and a former CVS. The CVS went out of business for some reason. Seems like there was gas stations in this corner 20, 25 years ago, but I really don't remember. So on the right here is a Best Western Hotel, which used to have a Copeland's restaurant in it, but Copeland's moved across the street, so I'm not sure what they have in there now. It looks like something is there. We're going to take a right here into this shopping center, which is actually on Manhattan Boulevard. But years back, there was a grocery store chain called the Real Superstore, and this building up here on the left contained the Real Superstore. And that went down probably 25 years ago. And this shopping center sat completely empty for decades. So now here we have a UFit gym. Hobby Lobby's been there pretty much since they redeveloped this. It's got to be at least 10 years, maybe 15 years. And Conn's Home Plus, which is now out of business. I don't know whether the whole chain went down or if it was just this one, but this was a completely abandoned shopping center. Although the road through here was always open and people used this as a shortcut to get from Manhattan to Lapalco back there, the way we came in. So as we continue down Lapalco, you can see there's very very few empty lots along here. At one time, most of this was empty, just hadn't been developed yet. You see on the right was a school. The name of that school I can't remember now, but it's very recently been demolished, or most of it has been. So I'm sure that'll be redeveloped soon. On the right, this factory, Furniture Factory Plus, used to be Chelsea's Frozen Custard. And Chelsea's went out of business a long time ago, but they had a really good hamburger, char-grilled hamburger. And I'm going to turn in here because there's some kind of major accident up ahead. Right here on the right was a Black & Decker store for a long time. ABC Title's been here since at least the late 90s. And they were just a little bitty place in one unit. And they've expanded to fill half the shopping center now. So now this lane will take me to Peters Road where I can make a U-turn. But it appears that the bus ahead is trying to get into the left lane to go across the bridge. Accidents on the other side. Huh. It's pretty bad. not much in here has been here for any length of time. It's mostly just small businesses. I do know the ladies here at Spice Diva's Beauty Bar. Place here on the left originally was a Huddle House or Toddle House or something like that. Now it's Los Tres Amigos, authentic Mexican restaurant. The stuff you see here on the right is pretty new. I don't think any of this stuff has been here more than 10 years or so. Lola Loop Masters, that's been an oil change place for as long as I can remember. And this Circular K here in the corner has also been here forever. Although it seems like they used to sell Shell gasoline here. Fat Boy's Pizza here is pretty new. I don't remember what that was before. So this shopping center here, I'm pretty sure that used to be a Baskin Robbins ice cream over there where the PJ's Coffee is now. And then Bryant Chiropractic has been around for a long time, but I don't know how long it's been in that location. I think most of this stuff here has changed out in the last 20 years or so. And over here on the left used to be a Party City, and now it's Dollar's Beauty Supply. I don't know when that changed, but from what I understand, Party City is no more. So, I guess that's what it is now. Now, as we move into this next little shopping center here, this building right here on the left, I can't remember what it was called, but it was one of those places you went to get performance upgrades for your car, like the mag wheels and custom exhaust and stuff like that. used to be a bingo hall somewhere up in here, but I don't even know where it was, and it doesn't seem to be there anymore. So once again, we enter the city of Gretna to pass through Timber Lane here. On the right here, this O'Reilly Auto Parts, that was an empty lot until they built that. That's got to be in the last 10 years or so. It was always just an empty lot. So I'm going to pull into this shopping center. And there's one of those charity AmVets type places in here, red, white, and blue store, I guess, you know, where they'll come to your house and pick up your unwanted clothes and other articles. It's over there in the corner of this lot, and they have a bunch of trucks parked all throughout the lot. You can see there, right in the middle of the screen, is an upside down Baskin Robbins sign that closed just a few years ago. On the corner there, the Ochsner Therapy and Wellness, that was a K&B drugstore, and then later it was a Rite Aid. And then when Rite Aid got, actually I think it was before Rite Aid went down, Rite Aid got bought out by Walgreens or something like that, and it shut down. There's a little place over there called Movie Poster Archives. That's interesting. In the back corner of the parking lot, though, was Gordon's of Gretna. And Gordon's and Michael's. I know Michael's is a little bit more widespread now, but that's the same company. I don't think Gordon's exists anymore, but it's like a craft store. They got a Family Dollar back there, which is one of the many Family Dollars. And then this was, I believe, a Winn-Dixie back in the 90s, and then it became a Bromart, and Bromart shut down 5 or 6 years ago, and now it's just an empty grocery store, and there's nothing there. And that was, I actually liked shopping at this Bromart. It wasn't too far from where I lived, and it was just a smaller store, independently owned. They've added a new strip along here. None of Belmead Boulevard on this side had anything on it until you got down there past the curve where that FedEx truck is. And so everything over there is relatively new. So this shopping center here, which has a really large parking lot, I don't know what it was originally built for. I don't know what was here back in the, I guess, mid-'80s when it was built. But right there where Universal Furniture is, which is one of those furniture stores that's existed in the New Orleans area for 50 or 60 years, in different places. But where that Universal Furniture is was at TJ Maxx for a long time, and that was what anchored this shopping center. There's a small church there in that end unit there, and I guess Universal Furniture takes up most of the rest of it. And then you see over there Bill Yacht Pools. They've been there forever, and probably will be there forever. It's a family-run place. And there's a nail salon and a hair salon, which is pretty typical of all these shopping centers. So here we have a Piccadilly cafeteria that's been there for a very long time. And this building over here was National Canal Villery grocery store. And National Canal Villery was part of the National Tea Company, and they merged with a local grocery store called Canal Villery, and that was where National Canal Villery came from. This was one of the nicer grocery stores in the area, and it closed in the late 80s, I guess, maybe early 90s. Right there where it says GenCare Medical Center, I believe was an Eckerd drugstore, attached to the Canal Villery store. This racetrack station was actually built in the parking lot of what, used to be National Canal Villery in the last 5 or 6 years. This was just a big empty parking lot. In fact, there was a traveling carnival that used to come around on a pretty regular basis, and this has been a school. This Believer's Life has been a school for quite a while now, and they would rent the space from the school and set up their little traveling carnival just for the heck of it, and didn't attract a whole lot of people, but I guess it was making them some money rather than just have all their equipment on the back of flatbed trucks. So still a pretty good-sized empty area back there behind the Piccadilly, though, that I guess will eventually be developed. On the right, this Walgreens is on what was once an Exxon station, which is why I think it's kind of unusual that they opened up another Exxon station right across the street. But I'm talking about mid to late 80s. And it was kind of an oversized gas station, and it never was very busy. I think it had a car wash at one time, but it didn't make it and closed. And I guess kind of like it is now, there were just too many gas stations in this corner. Now, all along here on the right, we've got little strip malls. This has all been kind of transformed a little bit. It looks a little bit nicer than it did at one time, but there's still a lot of empty units. There's that old time saver again. And this apartment complex here hasn't changed at all since I was in high school, except I think the name's changed. Now, once we get down here past Willowbrook Drive, pretty much everything along here has been built in the last 25 years. There was nothing along here. With the exception of one thing, is right up here in the corner is a restaurant, El Chango Borracho, which was originally opened as an Edwin Watts golf shop, and it had a little lighthouse in front of it. I don't know why, but that didn't last very long, and then it became some sort of a seafood restaurant. Then it was some kind of Asian restaurant, and now it is what it is. So anyway, we're going to conclude here. I hope I've covered everything. If you remember things that were there that I'm not remembering, or I'm remembering incorrectly, please post a comment below and put a timestamp so we know what part of the video you're talking about, and tell us what you think and what you remember. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. That helps us with the YouTube algorithm to get views. And be sure to join us for our next 504 road trip.